So I'm going to get you started here with this model. So to show the entire model, click drawings there. I'm going to start with a model map. Now again, as I said before, you can create one model map with a number of mapping definitions, or you can create a number of different model maps with different mapping definitions in them. So maybe I'll just start with frames. Click OK. And then we're in here now to the modeling functionality. I'm going to scroll down and possibly start with structural framing here, which houses, as you can see, our beams. So use comments, which is essentially what you used to input your national standard building elements. And I'm going to just create a subfolder by using the plus, quotation marks, /, and I'm going to create a subfolder based on the family name. Okay, so click preview, just see how that works out. Now this should divide my beams into substructure and frames, and then put in rectangular beam as a subfolder. And then for the dimension group, all I really need in this case is the description, because this gives me that's a reinforced concrete situ concrete beam, and the dimensions 500 by 900, as opposed to some other ones that are 300 by 500, and I think there's a 400 by 700, I believe. So if I bring description in there, now if you don't have millimeters against these dimensions, for example cut length, put it in, right click, millimeters, same goes for volume, width, etc., length. What I'm going to do is use cut length. I could use cut length, or I could use length. The cut length essentially will be the length to the actual column, stops here in terms of the column. The length itself will take it into the center line of the column, which is essentially not what I really want. So what I might do is actually, for the start, just take length into length, and that'll give me an opportunity maybe down in custom name 1, cut length, UOM meters, and then I can drop my cut length just to compare it to my length. So again, cut length, see, there it is. So drop that in there. The obvious ones, volume should always be there. I could drop volume into volume. Okay, so I have an area of these beams. I probably won't, nor do I really need it, but what I will need is formwork. So I'm going to create a formwork. Name, custom name 2, it'll be meter squared. What I'll need to use here is the X number feature. So X number, open brackets. And what I'm looking for here are the dimensions. So I can see them there, 300 by 500, or I could use even the description. So I might use that level 3. So if I bring that across, and in terms of dimensions, I'm going to take the first dimension, which is 300, and divide it by 1000. So I showed you how to do this before. So that's my first dimension, and that is the top dimension. Now I'm not going to necessarily need that. It's also the bottom dimension, which I do need, because my formwork will be on the 2 sides and on the bottom. I won't have formwork on the top, because essentially at the top, that's where I'm going to pour my concrete in. So it'll be that plus, if I copy that and then paste it, so the second dimension, and that second dimension is essentially times 2. Now what I should do here then is put brackets at the end and at the very start, and multiply it by the cut length. Again, not the length, because the length isn't essentially a real length. The cut length is the real true length, because it stops right there as opposed to stopping in the middle. So if I click preview, just see how that's going at the moment. it's working through its calculations, click frames. Now it's showing lengths here, but I can change that to volume. So I have volume, I have formwork for each one there, I've cut lengths. What else do I need here? I might calculate my length just to see what it is from my volume. Okay, so or even if I calculate my volume, so if I did say volume, just to do a check, volume from cut length. Okay, there we go. So again, cut length, just to check my volume, cut length. Now this is going to be a meters cubed. So cut length times and the X number feature. Let me see. There we go. I'll take it from there to there. So copy that. Cut length times the first dimension times the second dimension. Okay, so that essentially cut length times 300 or 0.3. In this case, in this particular case for this item here, and then it'll take the second dimension, which is 0.5. So if I preview that just to see how it's looking, how how it compares to the volume itself, cut length 25180 and volume 250, so it's slightly different, but it's a good check. We're not too far off. Height, width, there's nothing really else I need there. I certainly will need weight, and that will be volume times, let's say in terms of beams, we 250 kg per meter cubed times 0.001 to change it to tons. Lowercase t, and that should be everything I need. Length, I might do default display just as volume. Scroll down, length, volume, weight, cut length, formwork, and then volume to cut length is just do a double check. And I think I'm happy enough with that there. Click preview again and see how it works out. And it's working out good. Okay, so we'll leave that for the moment.